Well, thank you, Nick, and thank you all. I really appreciate the opportunity. This is the fifth time that I have asked the local Democratic Party to endorse me in pursuit of the office of mayor of the city of Missoula. But I take nothing for granted, and that's the reason I'm here tonight. I want to ensure that I have an opportunity to answer questions. Hear feedback, and make my case. I'm running for mayor of the city of Missoula in large part for the same reasons that I ran the first time in 2005. I love this community. I love its people, and I believe that we have remarkable opportunities to work together to make the place better for everyone. And over the course of the last 16 years, that's what I've been engaged in doing, whether working on relatively small and mundane projects that keep the wheels on the wagon and keep the city running from day to day, or engaging in broad initiatives that will have impact for a very long time. This campaign for me is about addressing the issues that I think have been critical for some time and remain critical to our community. And those issues are expressed to us in a variety of ways, whether it's through a citizen survey that we conduct through the city of Missoula, through the comments we hear on Monday evenings during council meetings, through email, through media reports, and through conversations I have at the grocery store, the gas pump, or occasionally in a restaurant. Those issues today, I think, are three in particular. One is housing and its companion, homelessness. The other, I think, is the way we preserve the nature of the community, our built natural environment, and how we work on growth and development as our city continues to expand. And I think maintaining a quality of life for all of our residents, and ensuring that people aren't left out of the mix. And that's a growing challenge as we see nationwide, and certainly here in Missoula. You know, the housing shortage that we face today is a long time coming. It's not contained in Missoula by any means. And it's also something we've been preparing for a long time. I've been talking about housing for 16 years, and we've made tremendous progress and strides, I think, in serving the community and ensuring that folks have a decent, safe place to live. That work is complicated, it's expensive, and it takes a great deal of time. But I tipped up the first housing office in the state of Montana at the city of Missoula, with the goal of creating a policy that ensured that all of our residents had access to that safe, decent, and we hope affordable housing. We've emphasized affordable housing as the greatest need, and I think the greatest opportunity. And I can tell you that because we've engaged in policy and practice in
15 seconds.
Oh, in housing, well, I'm not timing myself well. I feel what it's like to be on the other side of the microphone. Housing is a big deal, and I hope we have a chance to talk more about that. Thank you. That's a great question. As one of the partners in developing our 10-year plan to end homelessness, I can tell you that we have made tremendous progress again with a very complex and challenging problem that we're not alone in trying to work through. Our 10-year plan comes with lots of solutions, lots of policy decisions that needed to be made, and some still need to be made. But mostly what what the plan calls for is collaboration and investment. So on the collaboration front, we've made remarkable progress in bringing organizations together who have traditionally operated in silos. These are talented, caring, compassionate, smart folks who are trying to solve a tough problem, but they were often trying to solve it alone. And through our coordinated entry system, we have not only gotten those agencies cooperating with one another, but we've eased the burden on the person who is experiencing homelessness by allowing them to have a single point of entry, a no wrong door, where they are welcomed, where we collect the data we need to identify the best way to get them housed. And they don't need to go from agency to agency shopping for help or answers. That coordinated entry system allows us to track those individuals, to help understand what kind of progress they're making, to identify some of the obstacles and barriers to their success, and to really apply our talents and the right people at the right time to helping them solve their problem. So there are lots of examples of sort of the meat and potatoes of creating an organization that makes it easier for folks experiencing homeless to find help and then get that help. The second, and I think as critical, if not more critical piece, is funding. So we are the first community in the state of Montana with an affordable housing trust fund. That was called out in our housing policy, and we are actively engaged in funding that and in building with partners a number of projects, the most significant of which for people who are currently unhoused is the Trinity Project. For the first time, we will have residences purpose-built in the city of Missoula for folks who are experiencing chronic homelessness, and the intention is to get them in the door and ensure that homelessness is a one-time experience for them and that it ends when they set foot in Trinity. I believe we have responded appropriately, but I don't think our work is done there yet. And there are a number of ways that we're approaching this, but really first is, again, investment. We need to invest in the peace officers who are in a position to, in most cases, investigate these cases, but in other cases are trained to help prevent them. So we invest in training for our officers around human trafficking, and that goes a long way around prevention. We start to recognize situations, activities, and circumstances that lead us to investigate human trafficking. And in many cases, we're in a position, because we know that those individuals are out there trying to do harm, we're in a position to pay attention to them and prevent that harm. In the case of solving crimes, afterwards, some of you might be familiar with Detective Guy Baker, who is likely the leading law enforcement officer in the state with regard to expertise in missing persons, and particularly in missing and murdered Indigenous persons. I believe that Detective Baker has lived at least a portion of every day since Jermaine Charlo went missing, in pursuit of finding Jermaine and solving the mystery of her disappearance. Guy has plenty of training, and he continues to train fellow officers. He has also worked with the Montana legislature, as we have, in trying to shore up laws and funding that helps prevent, again, some of these abductions and murders. and also applies additional resources to solving those crimes. We're not there yet, and we need very broadly to continue not only the training work that we've been doing, but we also need to continue to work on racial justice and equity in our community, which is a contributing factor to all of this. Well, thank you. So before I used all of my time in the preamble, we were talking a little bit about housing, and so the work we're doing, particularly around the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and building partnerships with the private sector, whether they're nonprofit or for-profit developers, is bearing considerable fruit. So if we look at our land banking program, we purchased almost 20 acres on Scott Street a little better than a year ago for the purposes of redevelopment. We did that through our Missoula redevelopment agency, and we're now deeply engaged with a partner to develop that property for affordable housing, both for ownership and also for rent, as well as some market rate product there, and some mixed use, including daycare. When municipal dollars are invested, we get better outcomes. We are able to address broader community needs than a developer might be able to do on his or her own. And so we have additional opportunities at the Sleepy Inn, corner of Broadway and Russell Street. We have an additional opportunity at Johnson Street, where Montana Rail Link Park is, and we have an additional opportunity at the Payne block, which is immediately to the west of our beautiful new library. These land banking investments allow us to buy down cost of land and to influence the type of development and its design. As we continue to move forward, we need to, pardon me, continue to invest in all of the services that make Missoula. None of this is exclusive, and little of it changes from election cycle to election cycle. We need good cops and we need good parks. We need operating water and wastewater systems, and we need good planning. All of these municipal functions don't work unless we're continuing to make investment and continuing to try to improve those. I have never given up in 16 years on getting better at my job or making sure that the city of Missoula is better at its job collectively. And we intend to continue that work, working together, working with talented and committed individuals to make sure that Missoula is a great place for all of her residents.